Hey everyone, before I get started, I just want to remind you that if you like my content, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and then join the Militiaman and Crew Patreon community by clicking the link in the caption. Hey, good evening everybody. I hope everybody had a good week, good holiday. Yesterday was Labor Day, and obviously you didn't see me much. I did happen to stop into another venue in the morning because I had a few minutes, but the rest of the day the family hijacked me, and so I was out and about. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And hey, Mark Z, thank you very much for having me on. Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate that. It's always good to have being able to present my point of view and give my opinions. I may not agree with everybody, they may not agree with me, but you know what, I get to talk about how I feel, and so you guys can be the judge of that. And interestingly enough, I still have fun doing it. So, and I have a great time talking to you guys here with our patreon.com/MMANDCREW. And I want to thank all the team members, Samson, Pompey Peter, Day Trader. We have Gigi, and we have Greg, Angela from Texas. And we have many other people behind the scenes that are just kind of in the shadow, but man, they sure are with me and with us along the way. So keep that in mind. And Brian the Lion, thank you for your spiritual motivation. It's a big uplift, and I think you touch a lot of people around the world, because I know we tweet you out. We tweet you out quite a bit. Wait, it's a tweet or is it we X you out? Which, that doesn't sound good. Anyway, Brian, thank you very much. Iraqi banking article, basically, Iraq's banking understandings with America. So obviously you guys all know that Iraq was, has been, well, Al-Alaq was called back to the United States a short time ago. And it says here the Central Bank of Iraq held intensive talks in New York, where they discussed strengthening and understanding the United States and on external transfers, and protecting the banking system from sanctions. So they were pretty motivated about the fact that they had some banks that weren't up to snuff, if you will. It says, while the visit was described as productive by experts, questions remain about the impact. I like that word impact, because that's a big deal, of the move on Iraq's financial system. So what kind of impact of the remaining questions are they thinking about? Is something happening that's going to have a big impact? I would say yes. Okay, that's me, but they wouldn't be talking about impact. Impacts are usually something to the effect of, is this something going to go up? Is something going to go down? Or is it going to go sideways? What is the impact? I always look of impact meaning having a market effect, and a market effect can be up or down. But what are we expecting? We're expecting Iraq to make a major move, and it's going to impact a lot of countries around Iraq, a lot of countries, external foreign trade partners around the world. You're going to see today that you got a lot of countries talking about partnerships and cooperation and support. Okay, you're going to see where the the United States ambassador to Iraq has some positive signs from what her terms are and what she has to say. This is going on to say the governor of the central bank, Ali Alaq, included discussions with the United States Treasury Department, the Federal Reserve Bank, and a number of major banks such as Citibank and JP Morgan. Now, it's funny how a lot of people had their bank stories in the past, and JP Morgan denies being involved in Iraq. Citibank probably the same way. Well, here it is, clearly a number of banks such as Citibank and JP Morgan, they were included. As well as companies such as Visa, MasterCard. Okay, so discussions were also carried out with international audit companies such as KPMG and Ernst & Young. They don't mention K2 and a bunch of others, but there's plenty of other companies that are involved. And a lot of that stuff is people do number crunching, they do valuations, they do a lot of different products. So basically, it looks like this shift is seen as a major step towards improving the transparency of Iraqi financial system and enhancing its stability or its ability to integrate with the global banking system. So what are we talking about? We're talking about implementation tonight. We're going to talk about activation tonight. And you just heard the word integration. They're going to integrate with the global banking system. Well, there's some serious requirements that need to be taken care of. And I hope, and I would like to say, I believe they've been taken care of with language like this. Going Article 8 compliant with an international currency, a real effective exchange rate, is the goal. And I believe that that's where they're headed. It says to some people, but there's concerns about the impact of this shift on the stability of the financial sector. So in other words, something that they're going to do is going to have an impact and a shift could create a shift on the stability of the financial sector. Probably not wrong, could be possible, but I think the powers that be that have been studying this for so long and working on this complex process, highly complex process, is underway, and they've had time to test, work it out, I'm assuming, and I'm pretty sure that's the case. But anyway, we'll just say assuming. On the other hand, it says here's this guy Jabbar Tamimi believes that the step may open the way for significant banking improvements. So impact, positive, good, right? It says, but it requires careful implementation. There's a good word, right? We've already mentioned a few of those. Effective communication, and with who? International parties. It says here, despite the credits of the achievements in the central bank, there are those who still criticize these transformations and how they're being dealt with. Some of the critics basically state that some banks may have difficulty adapting to new requirements. Well, some banks that don't play by the rules will have a definite problem adapting to new requirements. In other words, you need to get either educated or you need to clean up your books and things of that nature. It says there are also questions about how the Iraqi banking system is dealing with challenges ahead that may arise as a result of these shifts. So again, it's just a positive back and forth, positive and negative a little bit, but the ultimate goal is, you guys, I think we can all see that they're moving forward, and you're going to see that with all the countries that are coming in and talking about what we talk about: coordination, cooperation, all of that good stuff. It says some observers believe that this step may be an attempt by the central bank to emphasize Iraq's seriousness in its commitment to international standards, which strengthens confidence in the Iraqi financial system and allows it to expand its international relations. International relations, that's what we're going to talk about in a little bit, is that you have many of these countries talking about cooperation and coordination, international. And so, yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Iraqi bank having a partnership and a relationship and coordination with the United States Treasury, U.S. Fed, with those banks that we just talked about, those accounting firms that we just talked about, those international payment systems we talked about, Visa, MasterCard, etc. All of that. That's the focus, you guys. And obviously, it's not going to change. They've got contracts with Ernst & Young. So, okay. And again, here's this article comes out yesterday, I believe it was. It says, away from the gray list. Removing Iraq from this list, which includes the names of high-risk countries, due to the spread of this phenomenon, means that the Iraqi business environment has become compliant with international standards. So that is basically almost talking like they're ready to be Article 8 compliant. Because why? To do that, to be in compliance, you're going to have an exchange rate to do that. And 1310 isn't one of them. So it goes on to say, to become compliant with international standards, all in my opinion, you guys. And no, but I'm getting it from what I'm reading, okay? It says, I'll just back it up. Removing Iraq from this list, which includes the names of high-risk countries, due to the spread of the phenomenon, means that the Iraqi business environment has become compliant with international standards and is a favorable environment for foreign capital that wants to invest in the country. So, I mean, to me, there we have it. It says Iraq's been removed from this list, and the business environment is in compliance with international standards. To me, what does it reek of? It reeks of Article 8 compliance with the IMF knocking on the door. I think that is powerful. I think it's probably, I think that's pretty accurate, you guys. I think that's about where we are. Central Bank of Iraq makes progress in reforming banking sector. Here's the U.S. Ambassador to Iraq, Alina Romnosky, confirmed today, Monday, that the Central Bank of Iraq, so this actually was yesterday, excuse me, has made progress in reforming the banking sector. And it says that the ambassador said in a tweet, or on X, followed by Al News Agency. It says, we commend the progress made by Iraq and the Central Bank of Iraq in reforming the banking sector. So it sounds like it's almost done, in a partnership with the U.S. Treasury and the Federal Reserve. And that's the ambassador from Iraq. Partnership with the U.S. Treasury and the Federal Reserve during recent meetings in New York. So they've come to agreement. They've got a partnership, so they're working together. It says where the two parties discuss ways to cooperate and to enhance transparency and integrity in the banking sector. So here it again. It's like a reiteration of what is exactly going on. And it's obviously now with Iraq and the United States, not later. Their ongoing relationships with their financial and banking systems is right in front of us. So that's a pretty big deal in and of itself. There's another one here that I like too, is the Prime Minister Al-Sudani stresses importance of moving towards signing comprehensive economic agreement with the United Arab Emirates. This is just going to be one of them tonight. Actually, let me back up just a second. You know, there's probably going to be articles tonight, just an FYI. You have the British, Great Britain, you have France, you have Germany, you have Switzerland, you have the UAE. So major currencies, you have the British pound, you have the euro, you have the United Arab Emirates, the dirham, all of those three. And then collectively, we have the yuan, we have the US dollar, and maybe a few others. I just don't recall. But keep that in mind, because you're gonna see where some of these countries are gonna pop up tonight. And here's a case in point with the UAE. It says that while indicating that it's making efforts to enhance its cooperation, remember that? The Iraq, especially in the Development Road project. So they're going to be wanting to do some business with this project, because there's going to be a lot of investment involved. And they have quite a bit of money. And by the way, their currency is pretty strong in retrospect. Prime Minister's office stated in a statement received by the news outlet that the Prime Minister received the new UAE ambassador to Iraq, Abdullah Matar al-Mazroui. Forgive me. But anyway, it says the wishes to the UAE's ambassador in success, of course. It says referring to the efforts made by the UAE to enhance its cooperation with Iraq, especially in the Strategic Development Road project, which constitutes a link between Iraq's neighbors and the countries of the region, in addition to its long-term economic importance. So the Prime Minister stressed the importance of continuing bilateral efforts towards signing a comprehensive economic agreement between the two countries. So to me, I'm pretty sure that the UAE is pretty happy about this and is looking forward to doing those currency swaps if they haven't already done them. So to be ready and prepared when Iraq, I don't know, as they say, they push the button, they pull the trigger, they turn it on, whatever you want to call it. Parliamentary Finance Committee hosts a head of customs and taxes on maximizing imports. Why is this one important? Well, non-oil revenue streams, you guys, are going to be massive. They're going to be similar to or superior than, well, as we know today, their oil output. Okay, they're pumping about 4.4 million barrels a day. And you think about that at $80 a barrel. Do the math on it. It's a lot of money every day. That's how much money these guys are going to make. And that's why it's going to support the value of their currency. That's why we've been talking about it for so long. That's why the project to delete the zeros has been going on for so long. So anyway, the hosting of the heads of General Tax Authority, Ali Wad Alawi, and the General Customs Authority. So you have the General Tax Authority and the Customs Authority. And his name is Hassoun Hamoud Al-Akili, to discuss non-oil revenues and maximizing imports. The meeting was held to discuss expanding those non-oil revenues and their financial situation. It says the Finance Committee had previously met with the Deputy Minister, the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Electricity, Ministry of Oil, to discuss the issues of various revenues. Do you guys remember the people that are all involved in the Ministerial Council of Economics? I just read off a bunch of them, okay? Central Bank is involved with that, Finance Ministry. Okay, well, they already mentioned that. But the Finance Committee decided to meet with the head of the Tax Authority and the head of the Customs Authority, explain what procedures will be, what we will proceed with together. So they're going to work as a team. So that's big. It says here that taxes and customs are very important institutions that are capable of increasing and maximizing revenues, especially since the central bank sells more than 200 million daily. Well, they sell it for what? Because they have imports. That's what they use it for at the moment. So things are probably going to change that respect, because if you remember what they did say, they were probably going to cease the dollar auction sometime this year or by the end of the year. And we're probably going to see the fact that they're probably going to be able to do that sooner than later. But they're probably not going to tell you what day, because if they were going to do that, they would have already done it. And they haven't done that for over 6 months. Ministry of Planning chairs a meeting to discuss measures taken to implement the first phase of the Development Road project. So there it is. So we've had some of these buzzwords, right? Here's implementation talking about. We're talking about activation we're talking about. We're talking about coordination, cooperation. This is the Ministry of Planning. So what are they going to be doing? They're going to be doing a lot of business, aren't they? Ministry of Planning is involved in reconstruction, Development Road project. So during the meeting, the steps taken by the competent government agencies regarding the implementation of the first phase of the Development Road project were discussed. So here we go. Are they talking about just now breaking ground? I'm fairly sure no. But if they're in their first phase and they're doing the implementation, I think basically the process is underway, and they're going to need to pay for that. So they're going to have to figure that out, and I think that's why we're getting closer and closer to down to the wire. Al Mandelawi, he is talking to the British ambassador. So the acting Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mandelawi, confirmed today, Tuesday, that stability of the security situation, so their security situation is sufficient to proceed with serious partnerships in the economic sector. He goes on to say that he met with the British ambassador, Iraq, Stephen Hitchcock, and the meeting discussed the most important developments in the region and world that are common interests. They go on to say that the security and political stability witnessed by the country is sufficient to move towards serious partnerships and agreements and effective cooperation in the economic and commercial fields. Drop the mic, guys. The legislative authority supports the government's orientations aimed at establishing balanced relations with the Arab and regional and international environment in accordance with the principles of mutual respect and in a manner that preserves the security, the stability, and the sovereignty of Iraq. Those are some pretty powerful statements right there, everybody. I'll say it again. The legislative authority supports the government's orientations aimed at establishing balanced relations with the Arab, regional, and international environment in accordance with the principles of mutual respect in the manner that preserves the security, stability, and sovereignty of Iraq. It's that simple. I mean, it's unbelievable. So look, these guys are really moving forward. British ambassador expressed his countries to do what? Their desire to strengthen relations of cooperation and friendship with Iraq and support in the sectors of economic and social development, construction, and reconstruction. So in other words, investment. Okay, construction, reconstruction efforts. Okay, it's awesome. So I think it's great anyway. Swiss Embassy. So you guys see the pattern here. Baghdad reopens. This one's a long one because I took 3 articles together. I felt that it was kind of interesting. They're kind of 3 short ones, but they all kind of played off each other. Basically what it is Swiss Embassy has reopened in Baghdad. The steps aimed to strengthen bilateral relations with Iraq and deepen cooperation, fields of economy, security, migration. The security situation in Iraq has witnessed a significant improvement in recent years. It has entered a new phase of economic development, and in the fields of economy, cooperation, security, and its role as they're strengthening their role in the region as not only for economic development, but as a regional mediator. Basically, it goes on to continue that the new embassy will focus on strengthening relations between Switzerland and Iraq, enhancing cooperation in the fields of security, economy, peace, promoting Swiss interests. Basically, it's been over 33 years of closure. It says the reopening of the Swiss embassy in Baghdad after 33 years. Strengthening bilateral relations between Iraq and Switzerland is to consolidate cooperation in various fields. The reopening of the Swiss embassy represents a positive sign in the course of diplomatic relations and opens up new horizons for fruitful cooperation between the two countries in a way that serves the interests of the two friendly people. Of course, you guys I think you're kind of seeing what I'm getting at in this respect is that these themes that I'm coming up with are all intertwined. And it's really kind of neat because they're all these different countries are talking about bilateral agreements, dialogue, etc. So it says, a legal expert restoring relations contributes to recovering funds smuggled from Iraq and held with Swiss authorities. Here's the basic in this particular article, which reiterates a little bit what I just said. It says, the Swiss Federal Council certainly aims through this and through the opening of the embassy to strengthen bilateral relations with Iraq and consolidate cooperation in the fields of justice, economic law, security, and immigration. Therefore, these important relations must be invested in the judicial, legal, constitutional, and economic levels and resolve the file of smuggled funds from Iraqis and held by the Swiss authorities for more than 33 years. I wouldn't be surprised if they're sitting on a lot of money and a lot of artifacts. What confirms the good intentions of the Swiss side is the handling over of 3 smuggled artifacts dating back to the Assyrian civilization, which are the statue of the Assyrian sun god, and 2 murals dating back to the Assyrian era before Christ. Okay, so what they're basically saying that what they're doing is this is going to ensure that they have credibility of legal, judicial, constitution dealings and principles of reciprocity with the country of Switzerland. So I would have to say that Iraq is probably going to have a lot of money clawed back. That's going to probably go to their treasury, and they're probably going to get a lot of artifacts that are going to come back, which is going to help expand their non-oil resources and revenues. Why? Because tourism is going to be massive. So I think you guys can get it by now. It's like, man, these guys are ready, and they're talking about getting together with the region. And the region is sort of a regional reconciliation. You have to have a national reconciliation in the country, but a regional reconciliation as well. So all the neighbors need to know what's going on. And if you remember, not Al Alaq, but Al Sudani has just gone around the country. He went to Tunisia, he went to Egypt. He's been to many different places over the months and talked to many people over the last 2 years, especially while he's been in office. So here's a Al Nasik Islamic Bank adopts Bank Pia, which is France as it is a correspondent and a new bank. France have been completed. Forgive me. All procedures for opening an account with the Bank of France have been completed by approving it as a correspondent bank for Al Nasik Islamic Bank for investment and finance. And in brief, it says they explained that this step serves Iraq's economy and revives foreign trade and comes from the purpose of improving systems, policies, and procedures in accordance with the international and local standards to enhance transparency in covering foreign trade and provide protection for the Iraqi banking and financial sector from money laundering, from financing of terrorism, financial crimes, and the procedures of the Central Bank of Iraq at the end of this year regarding the major shift in the end of the work of the foreign currency sales window through the electronic platform for foreign transfers and replacing it with direct banking relations between Iraqi banks and the network of foreign correspondent banks. And we've already know all about this in the past. This isn't anything new. Banks for the purpose of developing work for opening documentary credits for Iraqi traders and foreign transfers within the European Union countries in euros, and in accordance with the plan of the Central Bank of Iraq and the directives of the governor. So they're going to be doing cross-border payments. They're going to be using, I believe, 100%, because they're getting rid of the dollar. They're going to be using the dinar, doing cross-border payments with other currencies. That's where we are, you guys. And so they're getting ready to do this. The meeting has also included the presentation of this Nasik Islamic Bank for Investment and Finance, and symbols representing the civilization of Iraq. And there's some books that this gentleman, Dr. Sadiq Al-Shamari, on the banking work mechanisms, and several different books were also presented in these meetings. And so I'm assuming it went real well. So look, France is stepping up at the end here, and the banking is a correspondent bank. It just basically, what's a correspondent bank going to do? They're going to help facilitate trade with their respective currencies. And so I think we're watching history unfold. Don't know if it's going to be today or tomorrow, but it looks like they're doing it, so it's pretty good. Tax authority, starting to unify tax procedures with the Kurdistan region. So now they're starting to unify. Unify means to bring to one. Unifying the tax procedures with the Kurdistan region. This comes today in a joint meeting held today. Atwan Al-Atwani, chairman of the committee. He attended by its members, the chairman of the tax authority, and we already talked about that. The General Customs Authority, we talked about that. What are they discussing? Tax and custom policies that would enhance and support the federal general budget. The federal general budget, and we still have not seen all of that in the Gazette yet. Those amendments we have not seen as far as I can tell. In addition to financial reforms that aim to enhance government revenues. The committee met with the ministers of planning, finance, electricity to discuss this file. And basically they continue to host the relevant authorities, including the tax and the customs authorities, of course, given their importance in supporting the general budget, the need for these meetings to yield positive results, the importance of providing job opportunities, activating, again, there's one of those key words, the private sector. Activating the private sector, supporting the investment project in all sectors, adding that the responsibility is shared in supporting the economy of Iraq. It says the focus will be also automating the system and shifting from a paper-based to an electronic system to reduce corruption. And that's why all that bad publicity was out there, because basically they were, those that were not getting involved, not on board, they got problems. And so the work has begun to activate. I love that word. Tax accounting for private universities, colleges, and companies. And they're explaining that this step has contributed to reducing the rate of corruption and extortion and subjecting foreign players and coaches to tax accounting. So basically, they're cleaning up the house. They're just moving forward, and they're not stopping. The tax secretariat is related to issuing a certificate of good conduct for companies that have contributed to improving the performance of the authority and increasing financial resources. They've started work to unify the tax procedures with the Kurdistan region in accordance with the agreement between the central government and the regional government. So Baghdad and the region are in cahoots and doing things like they're supposed to unify. Chairman of the Authority of Customs announced a series of measures related to custom ports with the aim of improving the processes of enhancing control at ports to ensure compliance with customs laws and regulations. And they stressed that work to develop the infrastructure of the ports to raise work efficiency, which contributes to facilitating the movement of goods and eliminating violations. So what are we doing? They're talking about implementation and activations. We're talking about tax accounting, supporting investment projects throughout the whole country. They're talking about partnerships. The future is now for these guys. It's going on right before our eyes as far as I'm concerned, everybody. I suspect they're ready to show the world their true colors. And I wouldn't be surprised if their currency is going to be included in that. Hey, everybody. Thank you for being with me tonight. I tried to get that done as fast as I could. I know it's people are back to work and all that good stuff. But please, if you like my channel, you like my content, hit the like button, please subscribe. And of course, all your donations, all the help that you guys do, help keep the crew in line, keep us all moving, working like a team. And it's supportive. So we have Zelle, Venmo, and PayPal to do so. And thank you for your time and effort tonight. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Once again, guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you like this content. Subscribe to the channel or join us at the Militia Man and Crew Patreon community for even more exclusive content. You can also donate to this channel by hitting the links in the banner to help keep this page up and running. Your generous support is greatly appreciated as always. much appreciated. Thank you so much and have a great day.